Hey everyone, welcome to WYD Rocks. This is Dario from worldut.com, joined by my good friend Deacon Pedro from WYDcentral.org, and we are back for another show talking about all things World Youth Day as we prepare for Lisbon 2023. We have a special guest with us today.
Yay!
Introduce her. I mean, you know her more than I do. We're very blessed
Well,
to have her
she's
back.
not a new face. She's been back. So Isabel Correa, she wears two hats. Actually, she wears more than two hats, but two main hats. She's the I guess head of youth ministry for the Archdiocese of Montreal. But she's also the head under the Canadian bishops for World Youth Day for the whole country for Canada. So there's crossover there, but there's also distinct roles. But certainly, probably Isabel is the most important title that I can give you, Isabel, is that you are a World Youth Day veteran.
Yes.
Having been to way more World Youth Days than Dario and I together.
Probably, definitely.
You've been around.
Not that many. This is going to be my 10th one, God willing.
Oh, that's a lot.
We got one more than me, so you got me beat. That's good.
You've been around the World Youth Day block one too many times.
As our friend Gerard Gallagher always says, it's good to have the veterans together to share with the newbies and henceforth. This is why we call this show World Youth Day Rocks, because we like to invite those veterans. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
So thanks for joining us.
Yes. And you're still within the 1835.
Oh, absolutely. Let's young at heart.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about what you've been doing. Since the last time we saw you, you were promoting World Youth Day in the local level in the Archdiocese of Montreal for the Feast of Christ the King last year. So now that we've had a year go by, tell us a little bit about what you've done since. I mean, just to give us a little background before we get into the new stuff.
Okay, well, let me set the context for what happened this year. Last year, we had an amazing week for World Youth Day at the local level. Lots of enthusiasm. It was new. Great response from the community. The main events, people really got into it, let's just say. We even had an engagement live at the vigil. This young couple who's been around youth ministry got engaged in front of others. It was prepared ahead of time, but nonetheless, we were able to show that commitment at this age is still possible. And here we had two amazing young witnesses. We rode off that wave and then plunged into a whole bunch of rearrangements and management issues at the diocesan level with personnel cuts and dealing with all of that, which left our team with less people and less resources and all that. And that's what we prepared with. And we're at a diocesan level, we're really living what many parishes are still living, which we're still struggling to come out of the pandemic, out of those lockdowns that have heavily affected the way we do ministry. And so going into this year's celebration, something that changed is we did all of our planning online, which was really, it's a different way of working. So we're working into like a hybrid pastoral ministry, making sure that we're planning online for an event that's going to be held in person and live. And it allowed people to be doing a lot more sharing, a lot more concrete work that can happen easily because you don't have to write things down on paper. You're actually sharing screens or links, or we can do this. So information gets shared easier. So we're finding out that working on projects with young people is there's an ease to it because we can share the technology right away. But what's missing is that, well, after they finish planning, they want to eat, they want to hang out, they want to laugh, you can't really have that. It's not the same as they always tell us. Oh, come on, it's not the same. We want to be in person. But in person, we'd still be hiding behind screens. But it's the after part that they miss so much. So we did all of that. I think what we put in a much greater effort in planning into the teen event, and we had over 200 teens to participate. It was absolutely beautiful to have all of that participation. We had in the morning a time of catechesis and witnessing, and the afternoon we lived it like a festival, like you would in the international level. So we had an expo, and during that expo we had you can dance, we had karaoke, we had paint by numbers, we had sancta tea, as yeah, invited people to have some tea.
Oh, gotcha.
Pick a saint. All of these expo activities. There was it was fun and games and all of that, but it was also under the theme of that we are currently celebrating this year. Mary got up and went with haste. So young people got to. We had video game tournaments. We had sports tournaments going on at the same time. So teens got to kind of hang out and pick out the activity that they wanted to take part in and meet other people and all of that. So that was a whole day event and really went well. We had a smaller World Youth Day week in terms of the participation, but we had different partners participating, so that was a plus. The vigil went absolutely wonderful. Lots of participation again. We gave out World Youth Day crosses to all of the pilgrims. We had 1,000 of them and they were gone.
Wow.
So that's always something that's really welcomed. And what I want to share is a little bit about the Sunday. The Sunday is where my heart hurts, is where my heart aches, because I went to different parishes on Sunday to Mass to check it out and all of that. And here's where, while some parishes on the one hand are doing it amazing and they're really highlighting young people's participation, their role in the church, their role in the world, they're praying for them and their families and etc. They're involving them in the liturgy. You have at the other end of the spectrum, nothing, no mention, no nothing. And that's just like, we need to be raising awareness. And in many cases, it's not because they don't want to, it's still they don't know. And that was like a wake-up call for us. So like, we still need to be informing and forming people of how can they make the liturgy more participatory, which goes in line with the synod. I mean, everybody's talking about how can we make the liturgy more participatory, how can it touch the lives of young people? And there's still a lot of work there how can we get closer to young people through the liturgy and involve them in the liturgy. And that's a big area of, as we say in French, un champ d'action. That's a big area of working that we need to pay attention to.
Action plan. I think that's something that a lot of our viewers, listeners can relate to, actually. But I wanted to back up a little bit just in case people are just still trying to figure out, like, what are you talking about? So in the Archdiocese of Montreal, they do a little kind of World Youth Day week as the lead up to Christ the King. So and the Archdiocese doesn't plan all the events. They get parishes and communities or associations or congregations to plan events, and then they just kind of coordinate it, and people can participate in all the events, except for maybe it sounds like the teen event and the Ville are official events planned by your team, right?
Exactly.
Isabel.
Yeah. That's correct.
So then my question is, for that little youth minister, I don't know what happened to your camera.
And I think you're gonna have to stop it for a minute.
Oh, well, hold on a second.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So we changed your look all of a sudden. We went from purple to normal. Hey.
Yeah, there was a little technical glitch there, but I was going to ask Isabel, if you could, so that youth minister that is watching right now that maybe doesn't have full support from his parish priest, there's nothing happening at the diocesan level, they really want to do something. I mean, obviously for Christ the King, it's passed, but maybe for next year they could do something. What do you suggest that they do, or where can they start as they
Well,
prepare a group for World Youth Day?
well, I think if we're talking about the local week, I think they should start by talking to their parish priests, talking to the people who has influence in the parish, because
Okay.
they may know that it's okay, it's on Christ the King, but maybe the people that work at the parish have no idea.
Yeah.
Or they're too busy, or they're like, we're preparing for Advent and we just forgot, because the
Yeah.
change is recent. It's only been in the last 2 years.
Mhm.
And so we still have a lot of people adapting to the fact that it is around Christ the King. And so it's first step is raise awareness, start the dialogue, start people thinking of it, and please don't start this conversation the week before.
Yeah.
Start this conversation sometime in September,
Yeah.
or you can even remind them when it's near Palm Sunday, and saying, remember, it's not this year. It's not on Palm Sunday anymore. It's on Christ the King. So that people begin thinking like, okay, it had the feast itself, it has been moved to Christ the King, the recalling and the celebration of World Youth Day. The second thing that they can do is distinguish between the international celebration and the local celebration. We still have lots of confusion about that in the church. And sometimes we think, oh well, it's being celebrated internationally. We don't need to do anything locally. And so my answer to that is no, don't. Like, you have to celebrate it locally, because locally you have a chance of reaching way more people closer to you than you do of having young people traveling to Lisbon this summer.
Yeah.
And so we try to make the link that way. Spread the word and start
Spread the
that
word.
conversation. Yeah.
And in terms of actually, let's say that there's already a few young adults that want to go and they approach the youth minister, and other than all the logistical stuff, obviously to get to Lisbon, what are some suggestions, some practical suggestions that you have for that youth minister that maybe himself or herself has not even been to a World Youth Day?
Okay. Well, there's a few things. In terms of I mean, because one of the biggest parts is the logistics parts and the fundraising part, and groups tend to like lose themselves in there
Yeah.
and stay there, and then there's nothing else.
Yeah.
So one of the things I would definitely encourage is a discernment experience. Why are we going to World Youth Day? What's motivating us to participate at World Youth Day? What grace are we hoping to get out of this pilgrimage? And how do I foresee using it afterwards, after World Youth Day? So in other words, through this discernment experience, I'm also discovering what is it that I will bring to World Youth Day, and what is it I am hoping to receive, and how am I going to tell others, give it back, pay it forward, etc. So an experience of that level, like, I think is very important. Second, I would read the theme for this year. And if I was a group leader, I'd start by having a Lectio Divina on that theme. That to me is like basic.
Yeah, we were
Read
just talking about that last week.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to go about going through this Lectio Divina. You can watch you can prep yourself by watching a movie, maybe the Nativity. You can actually read the text. You can get a couple of speakers to break open the text for you. You can share amongst yourselves what that means to you. And then you can proceed to the second phase that I would say of that prolonged Lectio Divina experiences. Well, how do we put that in practice? What would that look like in our context today? Because it's not the same doing it in Montreal as it would be in Ottawa, or it'd be in Vancouver, or it'd be anywhere else in the world. It's just it doesn't apply. There may be similarities, but the context always affects the response. And then after that, I would look for external resources. What is there available? What are other people doing
what can I benefit from that's already there, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel and recreate it completely by myself. So, for example, the Archdiocese of Montreal is offering a preparation journey for pilgrim, for all, whoever wants it. It's being given online, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can actually take part in it. And it's called Navigate, and it's a series of six sessions, 2.5 hour sessions each time, given online, on developing certain leadership concepts that we need, that will change our lives every day. So, for example, the first session that was in November was on listening skills, listening attentively, listening intentionally, and what that really means to in our daily lives. Listening to our peers, to our parents, to our co-workers, to our teachers, to ourselves, to God. Listening, and how that, what are some barriers to listening, and what are some things that help in terms of the listening aspect. Then the second one coming up in January is all about group dynamics. And so we'll go through everything that happens in a group and how to manage all of that. And what are some, what does the Lord teach us in the way he himself interacted with others and came into dialogue with others? So we go through some group theory and then some practical exercises of all of that, and etc.
Now, do you record these in advance, or is this like something that you do live with whoever wants to join in digitally?
We do it live with whoever wants to join it in. We're not going to be recording them, because what people share, it's a lived experience.
Yeah.
And we also, by experience, know that when it's recorded, people won't sit through a 2.5 hour session. They'll fast forward it, and they'll miss out half of the experiences. So it's not conducive to that. But we have sessions on stress management, emotional intelligence, time management, conflict management.
Okay.
So little sessions, and everything done with the perspective of the joy of the gospel. It's connected to Christian leadership skills, connecting it to real life experiences that people go through.
This is very interesting. I'm on the Archdiocese of Montreal website, and I can't find it. So where can people easily find it so they can? Because I know Mission Jeunesse is the ministry, but is that a separate?
We have a website of our own, exactly, because we cannot be found. So missionjeunessemtl.org.
Oh, she's tricky. She's sometimes, that's the youth can find it. I mean, the most important thing is, can a youth find it?
Well,
maybe us, we struggle.
I'm pretty
with
young.
Websites.
So missionjeunessemtl.org.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and so and then the Navigate, anybody can just join in. Do they have to register ahead of time?
They have to register ahead of time.
There you go. I just put it in the chat. I don't know if that shows in the recording, Dario, but we can post it on the. You're muted.
Don't you love technology? So what we'll do is we'll post.
We're doing really well today.
I know, right? So what we'll do is we'll take that link and we'll put it up on our on the bottom of this post, so that anybody who wants to take a look at what Isabella is doing, you guys can take an example here from, this is one of the many things that people are probably doing, but this is a really cool thing. That I love the fact that it's not necessarily recorded, so you're not sitting there with the rest of your groups just sitting there going, my goodness, is this going to end? But it's live and it's fresh, and you're right, you can't fast forward when it's live, but it's also very raw and edited and very unscripted, because in a sense you're allowing the Spirit to move where you want to, especially in regards to how to prepare for a journey like World Youth Day. Who can prepare for that in such great detail, scripted? I don't even know if the Pope goes by scripted. I mean, I know that Pope Francis jokingly never goes by the script.
Yeah.
There's good times and bad times that we have to understand, right? But what a cool concept, though, to be able to say.
Yeah, and And
here, you know?
yeah, no, and I know because it's live, it might not work for everyone in terms of time zones and stuff, but at
Right.
least find out what they're doing. I'm sure you can communicate directly with Isabel and maybe get ideas if you're in a completely different time zone and it doesn't work, or the way the weekday, weeknight doesn't work. I'm sure that at least it gives you ideas. So what we're trying to do here is to give you ideas, give you tools, so that, as Isabel said, you don't have to reinvent the wheel coming up with
Exactly.
your whole plan, because there are lots of suggestions. And we mentioned, I mean, we've been mentioning what's in the Lisboa 2023 website. I mean, they have their own sessions as well. Isabel, I'm very conscious about time, but we don't want to let you go before asking you about your experience in October going
Yes.
to Lisbon with all the diocesan, oh, sorry, all the national coordinators.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, just before, I just want to say that Montreal has resources, but there's plenty of resources across the country. I know Vancouver takes very good care of their people. I know many other areas as well. So just a shout out to all the good youth ministry work, young adult ministry work being done across the country. My experience in Lisbon, I loved it. We had, well, it wasn't really in Lisbon. It was in Fatima where the meeting
okay.
was held.
Okay.
And we met delegates we were over 300 and something delegates from all over the world. And we got to listen to the very young Lisbon team tell us about everything that they're planning and trying to do and coming up with. So that was a lot of fun. We got to visit the sites and be there. Now, I'm looking forward to it. I really am looking forward to. They're innovating. When I heard about Rise Up and the new ways that they're doing catechesis, like that's new. That's fresh. I like this.
Yeah.
Um,
Is there anything that you think, I mean, that's exciting. Is there anything else, anything that you think is going to make it a little more challenging for some groups to go?
I mean, besides the physical elements of the weather, it's hot. I mean, it's summer's hot and it's very hot. And we're so it's if you thought Panama was hot, think of all other
I didn't think
European.
Panama was hot.
I was just gonna say, like, Panama
Madrid.
was actually mild.
Yeah,
Yes,
Madrid was
Rome,
hot. Yeah.
Rome was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brazil was somewhat muggy, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
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 So it's going to be very, very hot. I think the other challenge, and I'm crossing my fingers and really hoping that it works. They're hoping to run everything digitally, no paper. So
Yeah,
everything
that's what
through QR
Gerard said as well.
codes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything through QR codes and apps.
It's gonna be
And
interesting.
but Europe functions that way already. They're a
Yeah,
step
they
ahead
do.
of us in that respect because all their menus are by QR.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we still have the paper everything. So
Yeah.
it's that's going to be a big learning curve. The language, that's the other one.
Okay.
But the food is delicious.
That's right.
The people are very warm. I think there's a lot of enthusiasm, and I think the spirit of World Youth Day is just going to take over and make things happen. Now,
Yeah.
which
Good.
is one of the. I always say this is you. It's a school of solidarity. You're going there. You're paying a lot of money to live like 80% of the world probably lives with all of the comforts that
Yeah.
you're used to, and you need to be okay with that. If
Mm.
you're going there expecting an all-inclusive vacation where everybody is catering to your every single whim, that's not World Youth Day. World Youth Day is a time for dialogue, a time for discovery, a time for great solidarity, a time for adventure, an exercise of patience. Just it's really an exercise of lots of patience. There's going to be a lot of new stuff, and just take it all in, enjoy it, and don't worry that you know things are not going to schedule, that that your plans are changing at the last minute, and it feels like you're losing control. Like, no, you're not. Just let go and live it
Yeah.
and enjoy it,
That's good
and let
advice.
God be, let God uh, you know touch your heart.
Really good advice. Yeah.
And for anybody on the edge thinking like, man, I don't know if I want to go to World Youth Day this time around, you heard it right there. Don't expect something that is just compartmentalized and boxed in for you. Think outside the box. It's going to be different, and it's going to be fun, and it's going to be engaging. It's going to be an adventure of a lifetime, a pilgrimage to encounter the risen Lord together at this wonderful place, Lisbon, where the food is outstanding. I agree 100%. I can't wait to have another pastel de nata, but that's just me.
Oh, yes.
I think I'm going to be gaining weight again at this World Youth Day, but that's just me. Anyways, Isabel, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us all this great, tons of knowledge you've given us and tons of great experiences that you've had that we are looking forward to getting you back again on our show just to give us a little bit more. Especially because a lot of people are right now at the point where, what do we do? We're 8 months away. We got to get ready. We got to get prepared. How do we prepare? We've already started. And some people don't even realize that doing the small things will make a big difference. And you guys have already done that in the Diocese of Montreal. So thank you for what you're doing. And of course, we're going to tap that in by providing the link below so you guys can take a look at what is happening in the Archdiocese of Montreal and hopefully get that inspiration to do something very similar, whether it's in person or on digital platforms. Anything to have a venue for young people to gather together to encounter each other. And yes, I can't wait until August where we will be face to face, where we will have those foods, as you mentioned, Isabella, where we can actually socialize, and hopefully we'll all be together under the beautiful skylight of Lisboa. Anyways, thank you again for joining us. And from all of us at WYD Rocks, the collaboration between worldyouthday.com and WYDcentral.org, thank you again for joining us on this episode, and look forward for many more to come. Take care and God bless you.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Thank you.
Bye.